Thank you guys for your patience. I'm going to turn this over to John Yu.
All right. Thanks, Nanelle, and welcome everyone to another week of 1 Million Cups. Oh, that's fantastic. What a picture we have. We're the Fairfax chapter of the 1 Million Cups, which is a national organization. We're so glad that you can join us this morning. You see all the happy faces from last week. Welcome. If you're here for the first time, we welcome. And again, my name is John Yu. I'm one of the organizers here, and I will be emceeing the meeting this morning. Feel free to take a moment to check in if you can, and also feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box on the right column. All right, next slide. All right, so we're the Fairfax chapter of a national organization called 1 Million Cups. There are over 160 chapters all across the country that meet every Wednesday morning. And we're all about entrepreneurship, community, and education. And we help each other solve the business challenges over a cup of coffee. So if you're excited about these things, you come to the right place. Next slide. So the mission, it's pretty simple. We're founded and supported by the Kaufman Foundation, and the mission is to come together as entrepreneurs and to lower the barrier to access to education and connection for all types of aspiring entrepreneurs and business owners to overcome business challenges. So the key pillars, as you can see here, are presentation, not pitches. We're all about making connections, though we do encourage networking, but we're focused more on the authentic connections. And as you can see, we're run for the community and by the community. What that means is that we're run by the volunteers, as you'll see in the coming slides, made up of organizers and brand ambassadors, as well as you as individual participants to make these meetings happen. So our goal is to create a safe and supportive environment where everyone feels welcome. We are an all-inclusive community. And as I mentioned before, we are an all volunteer-led community. So everyone is welcome to participate in the discussion, as well as if you're so, and like I said, we need volunteers as part of organizing community, as well as brand ambassadors. Next one. We encourage you to join the community. This bubble chart in front of you walks you through how you can participate and be a part of the community. First, obviously, is to attend every meeting, which you are doing, as well as participate in the discussion later on in the meeting, as well as engage us online in a number of ways. And also invite your friends, invite your colleagues, invite the people that you know might benefit from this meeting. And as you can see here, we're all in all of the social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and other outlets. Next slide. As I mentioned before, we have a group of organizers that kind of work behind the scenes to make these meetings happen. And those are the folks in front of you. Some of us are here today, and but we do need more organizers to help continue to make these meetings happen. So if you would like to be a part of organizer, it's a great way to meet people and interact with the startups and small business owners in the area. Next slide. And as I mentioned before, we also have a group of ambassadors. Some of them are here this morning, whose role is to really go out to the community and represent 1 Million Cups and recruit new presenters every week. So I think a few of us are here today. May I ask John? I think John is here. If may I ask John to kind of quickly tell us about yourself?
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. Happy Wednesday. I'm John Foster. I am the ambassador for Green Fair Health and Wellness, as well as Green Fair Organic Cafe. And this is a wonderful way to hit the middle of the week and finish up the week. And I got to tell you, I appreciate everybody on the call, and you learn a lot. I learn a lot every week and have the opportunity to meet a lot of great people. So happy to be here, and wonderful meeting.
All right. Thanks, John. And so, yeah, did I say that we need more volunteers who can be part of our 1 Million Cups chapter? At this time, I want to recognize some sponsors. We have every month we have a coffee sponsor. Also, we have a space sponsor who's been providing us space prior to the pandemic. Our space sponsor is Office Evolution. I'm with Office Evolution. We provide virtual office as well as private offices for businesses in this area. And as for the coffee sponsor, normally when we meet, coffee sponsor would provide us with a 5 pounds of coffee per month. But while we're not meeting in person, you can still be a coffee sponsor, and there's no cost to it. So this is a great way to, we also give you an opportunity to talk about your business. So this is a great way to let us know about your business at the same time being part of the organization. So if you would like to become a coffee sponsor for next month or subsequent month, please reach out to me or any of the organizers in the meeting today. All right, so before we get started and have our presenter speak, just wanted to kind of quickly go over some of how our virtual meetings work. During our meetings, I would ask everyone to put yourself on mute, and then after the meeting, you'll have after the presentation, you have an opportunity to ask questions and also participate in the challenge question that our presenter had this morning. So with that, and also let me also quickly mention, we didn't have a presenter up until about yesterday, and so Chris McPhee, who is our presenter this morning, was gracious enough to come forth in the last minute and to present this morning. So I want to thank Chris for that. And so with that, let me hand it over to Chris.
Thank you, John. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. I'm gonna pass the credit to Donnell because we were having a conversation Monday and we were having a chat about this idea of coffee and photography. And so that's why I'm here. So that's why I'm here today. We've already said coffee about 20 times, John, with this intro and bringing everybody on. So this is going to be a talk about coffee and photography in underserved communities. So my name is Chris McPhee, better known as I'm Your Camera Guy. I help people capture photo, video, and podcast content to help them share their story, either promote their brand or their business products and services. So the name Green Beret Media derives from, I'm a retired U.S. Army veteran, 21 years of service, 17 years as a Green Beret in the U.S. Army Special Forces, worked as an analyst for a couple of years after retiring and realized that was not the job for me. I was still playing war in my head and I wanted to get out of it. So thanks to a good friend of mine, introduced me to this world of social media and podcasting. I launched in 2018 Green Beret Media, and that's how I'm here today. I presented at 1 million cups, I would say about 3 years ago. Right now, I think it's 3 years ago when I initially started the business and got some feedback from this group, this audience, which has taken me a lot of places over the last 3, 4 years. So I'm back again today because I have an idea, and I'm now living in Harker Heights, Texas. And it's not Washington D.C., it's not Alexandria, it's not Springfield, Virginia, and that's where I'm at today. And just to give you a little bit of a background, you see the challenge question there. Just to give you a little background, in 2020 in Las Vegas at the Grant Cardone 10X conference, I had a chance to see Magic Johnson, and he was talking about his joint venture with Starbucks. He did a 50-50 joint venture with Starbucks in 1998, and to bring coffee into underserved communities around the world, United States, urban coffee initiative that he had. And he told a funny joke. I guess Starbucks was like, hey, in his own words on stage, hey, we want to bring these coffee shops into underserved communities. And Starbucks was like, well, black folks don't like coffee. And Mac Johnson was like, yes, they do. They just don't know what scones are. And what he did was he changed their environment. And we all been into a Starbucks. It's usually the people in the Starbucks are some from that community. But he said he brought in things like sweet potato pie and pound cake. He changed the music, played jazz and R&B, and made this vibe that would attract those customers in their community. And so that's what he did. It was very successful. It's Magic Johnson. Everything he touched is pretty much happening. So that's where my challenge question is here today. And so, what problem am I trying to solve here in Harker Heights, Texas? Next slide, please, Melinda. Next slide. So here it is. I'm a photographer, and I'm here in this small town, USA, moving from Alexandria, Virginia. And I see an opportunity there to have my own little photo studio, but also create this vibe in my space where we have coffee and photography, and we know coffee is this thing that everybody's crazy about, but it's only being amplified in the suburbs and the more mainstream communities of America. So these are the problem here. I see there's a community void, there's a media gap because there's no photography guy down in that downtown area. Downtown Killeen is very small, so I feel I could fill that gap and representation. And the data that I pulled that I'm presenting today is the data I pulled from the National Coffee Association and also from the U.S. Census Bureau. And one of the things through my quick look research is the marketing is not geared to those Black and Brown demographics when it comes to coffee, especially as it's not visible here in the underserved communities. Next slide, Linda, please. So here's my journey. Founded in 2018, and I would say from 2018 to 2020, as you see there, these are my test results. I've shot NFL sideline, New York Giants and the Washington Redskins team, NASCAR, my latest video project I completed last year with L'Oreal with a veteran initiative hiring program. And then just probably like 6 months ago, end of last year, I shot a cover of the Military Influencer magazine, which goes out to 30,000 subscribers. So that's the test has been completed, and I'm still testing. And the headshot is my baby. That's my baby. And so for the next 6 months, I'm moving into the downtown area space of Killeen, Texas, because I've been working out of this home studio since we've been in COVID, and I'm moving into that space. And I'm the first step of this process is to establish myself as a photographer and fill that media gap within the downtown area. There are probably 5 to 10 major businesses where you're talking about the city of Killeen, official buildings there, a major bank down in Killeen. There's a couple of co-working office spaces down there. So I think it's going to be a good time for me to jump in there and they have a guy to help them with photos and videos and possibly launching their podcasts to get their message and their story out. In the next year from now, I see this process going into starting out with a cart or some sort and start to create this fusion of coffee and photography. And that's what we're looking at. So next slide, Melinda. So here's what the graphics look like really quick. As you can see, I'm just going to focus on the service obtainable market. 40% of the population here, we're talking about Black American, non-Hispanic. Within Killeen, the population here, out of 150,000 people is the whole population in the city Killeen. So it's not really that big. And 40% of that makeup, 35% of that makeup is Black African American here, with the Hispanic community 5 to 10%. So about 50% of the population is here. That's the majority here in Killeen, Texas. Let me see. Does that leave everything on the side? So competitors within a 1 to 2 mile radius of downtown Central, and that's what this is based off. And all this is just recon online with Google Maps and pulling data from online. And these are the 3 companies within the area. What's consistent with the 3 are they're very cookie cutter. Like most of the coffee shops, everybody's cookie cutting off of the Starbucks motto. So it's very vanilla. It's very artsy with the same fonts and the same things you see on Pinterest and Etsy. It has that Etsy feel. You're going to go in each one of them and you're going to get that. They all, excuse me, the one that I really like is interesting is the third competitor. Their coffee stand is actually a trailer, and it's inspired by military aircraft and weapons. And the baristas there are serving coffee, drinks, and lingerie. So I thought that was interesting. I've seen those before in Portland, and that's what we have there. Outside of that, you have your normal Starbucks and Black Rifle Coffee. If you haven't been following the news, is a veteran brand, major brand across the country, and they have moved here in town, and they have set up right next to Starbucks and all the other commercial coffee shops here in town. So that's the competition. I don't see those guys as competition because I'm bringing something to the area because they're not in the area where I'm trying to go. Next slide, Melinda, please. So what makes my company unique when it comes to Green Beret Media? I foresee a fusion of photo and coffee and building this community within the downtown area of Killeen, Texas. I'm a native, born in Liberty City, Miami, Florida. That's where I grew up. That's where I'm from. So I'm from an underserved community and was able to leave and go and join the military. But now I'm back. And it's right here in my backyard, and I want to do something. So I want to create this space where people within the community could come, just like we do at Starbucks, meet, maybe have a meeting, sit down, listen to some hip hop, some jazz, some Latin music, maybe get a piece of pound cake or some of those desserts that we're familiar with. And then also, maybe they need a headshot. Maybe they want to do family photos. Maybe they want to shoot a short commercial. Maybe they want to produce a podcast, and they could do it all in this space. And that is the vision. And that's what I feel that's missing from a downtown Killeen, Texas. Next slide, please, Melinda. So here it is. How to blend a coffee shop and photography studio in the historic downtown Killeen, Texas? That's my challenge question. How do I do it? How do I do it? And that's why I have come to you all. And I'm keeping it simple. I don't have to figure this out by myself because this is a place to come. And so I'm asking for your help to help me based off of the information I presented to you. Help me figure this out. And I am all ears. Thank you.
Great job, Chris. Outstanding. I think you really painted a great picture of your opportunity in combining photography with coffee, because it's something really natural and a really great way to become the community place to hang out. I am facilitating the conversation today, so anybody who has any questions, please raise your hand, but do it by raising your hand electronically. I cannot see the full screen. I see that right away. I've got Lisa and then I've got Leslie. So why don't you guys jump in? And then Teresa. Lisa, you're on mute.
Hi, John. I hope you can hear me now. I'm sorry, Chris. This is awesome. This is such a fantastic concept. And as someone who worked for a photographer who had a studio on Melrose Avenue, I wish we would have done this. Like in LA, it would have popped. And I think you have an opportunity to hit a place that other people aren't, partly by looking at the times that they close, because downtown areas tend to, shops tend to close up after the business people leave. So if you make yourself available as a late night coffee shop and you host concerts and poetry readings, the community is going to come and they're going to like what you have. And as you network with Colleen, you'll find out who has the best pound cake. You may already know where your pound cake's coming from. You'll find out who the best servers are. So you can support the community by having the people within the community work as your providers for stuff like that. And I think it's just very doable. Just think out what you want in each space, because you can use furniture in the coffee area and then have a simple separator and have your studio space, and then behind that your podcast studio. So it should be super easy to set up. And I love the concept of just a counter or a cart to get it started, and just soft open and soft touch a few events to see how it goes. Maybe have one of your photography clients throw a launch party or something in space so you can test using it and what works and what doesn't and where the bathroom should be and stuff like that. But it is an awesome concept.
So much. I appreciate your input. Thank you. Thank you.
Leslie, you're next, then Teresa, and then Dory.
Hi, as a fellow photographer, I love this concept, and I'm trying to implement how I can do this here in Alexandria. But no, I think that's awesome. You're coming to where your clients are, where the need is to serve your community. That is amazing. I don't know if I have a question. I'm just kind of in awe of the idea. It's very well spoken, well put together, and I guarantee you there's a need for it. So congratulations on the thought, and I can't wait to see you implement it and get it out in the world.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Next is Teresa and then Dory.
Hey, sorry, my camera's not on. I don't look presentable, but it's nice to speak to you again. I think that a good way to try to launch would be potentially to start off maybe as like a gallery / coffee shop, and then teaching, allowing people to come in and teaching them how to take photography and stuff like that, and then allowing them to then using your space to as a gallery, so they're taking these photos and then they're learning and growing along with everybody else. So people can come in to have their photos taken, but also come in to learn how to become a photographer and then have their work showcased. And potentially have the people who are showcasing their work pay you money to rent out the little gallery. Like if you want to like have like little spots on the walls and stuff and say, all right, this spot is yours. You can rent it out for this period of time for this many photos or whatever. And that's that way of bringing in more income. But it also allows, like, it's community art, right? So the community will know that, like, hey, my brother, like, people will bring their family members, their friends, or whatever, so they can see their art being showcased in this location. But then while they're there, also, by the way, hey, we have coffee, you know, so it'll bring in multiple points of revenue, but also something that I've never seen.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you. I know you got a million ideas. I could call you.
Dory is next, and then John Foster.
Great presentation. Thank you for sharing all that. It's a unique idea that I think if you believe can cater to your community is great. I think you're absolutely right. Photography within the African-American community and other minority communities is really, really underserved and needs that representation. My question to you is, for your coffee shop, you're serving one clientele at a really low cost with a really low cost item. With your photography services, whether that's headshot, videography, or whatever, you're serving a very different clientele. So to me, that's kind of the issue of connecting where those people are. Obviously, coffee, headshots, videography, branding sessions, that's all very different. So people aren't gonna do that. But I think one thing that's really gonna set you apart is when you set up your coffee shop area, you need to be catering that to the people that you really want to bring into the studio. So a lot of times I would see people maybe throwing together, and I'm not saying this is you, kind of throwing together a area that is maybe a little lower end to bring in.
I'm at 1 million cups right now, but
Hey, Donnell, you want to turn your mic off? Sorry. So you're catering to one type of clientele for coffee and one type of clientele for your photography. So my suggestion would be is when you're putting that coffee component together, you really need to be thinking with the end in mind of who are the type of people that you're going to attract for the other side of the business, because that's really what it is. It's a lead magnet into that. I'm assuming is where you're going with this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely will. I saw in the comments, is it coffee, photo? Is it photo, coffee? So the photo is first. So in my brainstorm, there will eventually, after the test, I will, because the photography work is the muscle. That's where I get most of my revenue from.
Right.
So initially, I'll be working out of that studio, servicing the business areas and bringing in that cash flow from my photo, video, and podcast production. So
right, but that's where
that's where it'll be established. And then as I start to build that, because I've been here for 2 years and I don't have that type of presence like I did in Virginia. So I'm in the process of doing that, getting involved with the chamber, going out, shaking hands, kissing babies, and doing those things.
Yep.
And getting to let people know who's the camera guy here in Killeen, Texas. But phase one is to establish myself here as the camera guy.
Okay.
And then as I see that time is right, then that's when we're going to introduce the cart. And it's going to be a train up phase there because I have to bring somebody in, because there's no way I could do both. And so that is part of it. It's going to be a phased approach, but the coffee is on the back end.
Okay, coffee's on the back end. So I think to merge them, you just need to get your studio up and running, and you need to get, like you're doing all the right things. I do think maybe sometimes, and I took a look at your LinkedIn and some other things, and I'm a photographer. I've been a coach for a long time. I've been in business for over 15 years. So that's just kind of my background, is really diving into building that from a marketing networking perspective, which you're doing. But a lot of times, which you probably know, when people are doing this, especially in a creative field, we're not keeping in mind who we truly want to attract in the back end. So make sure you're not selling yourself short on the front end, because you're not going to get the clients that are going to take you to the long haul and see this vision complete.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate it.
Okay, next we've got Teresa, and we've got John Foster.
Sorry, I already went. I'm gonna put my hand down.
Oh, I'm sorry, John. it's
Hey,
you.
Chris, how are you?
Sorry.
How you
Great,
doing?
great to see you again. And
Likewise.
love the idea. And I guess when Teresa was speaking around this, the idea when you talked about coffee shop and photography, it immediately made me think of some of the restaurants in New York City that have pictures up of all the people that have been in the coffee shop. And so it sounds like you're working from the photography standpoint. And so I think it would be a very interesting thing as far as the, working with the businesses around the community that you want to promote and kind of build it that way. So I love what you're doing. And I think that's, trying to merge those two is, love the idea, but I would look at, look at those surrounding businesses and to bring them in from a photography standpoint, because it's those business people that are going to, they want coffee as well. So anyway, love what you're doing.
Thanks, John. Thanks. Appreciate it. You're spot on. Definitely.
We've got Lisa next, and then if nobody raises their hand, I'll start sharing some of the ideas I'm putting in the chat. Lisa, go ahead.
Hi there. I just wanted to circle back to, how you're starting with the photography studio. One thing that you will definitely have in your studio for longer shoots is a refreshment area. So you can keep in mind and kind of test out as you're doing shoots, like what works in terms of flow, because you're going to have some, a craft table, as we used to call it in the entertainment industry, where if somebody's going to be there for 4 hours, you don't want them to faint. So you have some drinks and stuff like that. So look at how, where that goes in the studio easily as you're doing that, and, creating comfort and waiting areas for people as you're building the photography side of the business. You can then transition that into the coffee as you go. So when when somebody comes into your studio, they feel at home the way they would in a coffee shop, and then sliding in the coffee services will be easier. Does that make sense?
No, I know you. I love what you're saying, and I've been to a place like that. There's a place in there near Alexandria, 206 Union 206. And they have exactly what you just said. That, like a lounge area. So when I went there to shoot, it's a rental space for photographers. But no, I hear exactly what you're saying. Have a lounge area to create that ambiance.
Yeah.
Refreshments, maybe a Keurig, just to start out with.
Right.
Start ugly with a Keurig. They could go in, because that's what they had. They had a Keurig. You go there.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that. I love it.
Yeah, and John can tell you, Office Evolution has a fantastic environmentally friendly version of Keurig that doesn't use cups, so it's a little easier to deal with. Passing that along. I don't know the brand, but it's awesome, and it has coffee-based jokes. It's hilarious.
Oh, coffee-based jokes?
Mm-hmm. Like little cartoons.
Next, we have John Yu and we have John Ruttenberg, and I'm still writing more ideas. Chat.
Thanks, Lisa, for that plug. Thanks, Lisa, for the plug. So yeah, no, yeah, I mean, I share everyone's sentiment that I think it's I think there's something here. I think you have a fantastic idea. Obviously, running a business is more than it's going to take more than an idea. Obviously, you're talking about a brick and mortar store. I own and operate a co-working space here in Tyson's Corner, and so one of the key things initially is going to be generating a foot traffic. And so as I think about photography and coffee, I think coffee definitely is going to generate more traffic versus the photography, simply because there's more people going to be wanting coffee versus, having their headshot taken. But I do like the idea of, somebody mentioned I think Teresa mentioned gallery. I think that would also create foot traffic, and combining them would generate foot traffic. And I think that will probably, it's something that, might want to consider focusing on in the beginning of it. And I love the idea of sort of like a co-working concept for studios. So you can later on, there are a lot of photographers out there who may not necessarily have their own studio. So you can rent those out. And I love that idea as well. Having run a co-working space here in Tysons, I just love that. I think it's fantastic.
No, thanks, John. No, you bring up a point, because I've been visiting down there, and I've been running down there, running around, looking at, and foot traffic is a concern of mine too. Definitely, it's not really, just talking to some of the folks there. They're trying to breathe some life into a lot of all of the underserved communities here in the United States. That's the thing. They're coming in and trying to breathe some life into these areas. And unless it's a lot of money thrown at it, it's a slow process. So I'm feeling like if I get in early, set up the studio, get it going, get out of here. I really want to get out of here. I've been in here for 2 years, so I want to get out of here and get in with the people, get in the community. So no, I appreciate your insight.
Okay, John Ruttenberg.
So Melinda, after knowing you for so long, my last name is
Ruttenberg. I know
and
that.
everyone else. It's a
I know.
long you.
I'm sorry.
Okay, not a problem. Hey, camera guy, excellent presentation. Love your attitude. So I don't really know very much about Colleen. And it's, headshots. I heard you speak to headshots as a primary starting product. What is the business environment of Colleen, and what are the opportunities to focus on those businesses that require corporate headshots? And as one way to reach into the underserved community, maybe there are you could get involved in programs, maybe you are already in teaching photography in your community, where you could build some internship programs. And Craig Kirby is a friend of mine who's doing it in the golf industry. His passion was golf, and he has a nonprofit, and we can connect if that's helpful to you at any time. It's my pleasure to make the introduction.
No, John, I appreciate it. No, I love what you're saying. And to answer your question about the business footprint here. So in 2006, I got my license as a real estate agent and a call-ware banker. So here in Harker Heights and Killeen, the real estate business professional is the professional that would love to have a headshot, because they want their photo on the cards. They want to have it on their website.
Sure.
Also, we have Fort Hood Military Installation is one of the biggest military installations. I'm actually going next week to talk to the point of contact at the USO to do monthly headshots for soldiers transitioning out of the military. So it's definitely, I've locked in. The other product will be, short commercials for small businesses here.
Sure.
And then helping them produce a podcast and help them with that. But it ties back to what you're saying with teaching. I could teach those classes like, hey, how do you start up a short podcast? How do you do video for your brand with just your mobile phone? You don't need fancy gear like this. Those little things I could know, but I will definitely get in contact with you, because I like what you said about the internship, bringing people and adding more to the crew.
I look forward to it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, John Norse. One of these days I'll get to do mine.
Great job. Love your energy, your enthusiasm, your vision. Your journeys is inspiring. I put a thing in the chat about a mobile coffee shop, and I did some quick research. Austin, which is an hour away, is the 24th ranking coffee market in the country. And if you have a kind of hip truck that, blasts out some cool music, and obviously you could take pictures of people, I think you put it on the road and you use kind of that pull marketing of going down there and be like, hey, well, come visit us at our place here in Colleen, and try to, obviously you want to focus on your local market first. It's easy and accessible. But, the other thing with a mobile truck is it allows you to go around Colleen to events and get your message out. You just pull up, start playing music and serving coffee. You're going to have an instant party. I mean, people are going to feel the vibe, the energy. They're going to get to meet you. I think it allows you to take, interesting pictures. I don't know the terrain in Colleen, but, I'm sure you have parks and other things that probably host events. Just something to kind of, and it potentially might provide for a lower cost of, starting an actual business versus signing a lease, putting a personal guarantee, and all these other things that would be required, potential build out, may be an option for you. I don't know. I mean, obviously there are costs in modifying a coffee truck, but just something to think about. But I love what you're doing, and I wish you well. I think you'll do well. You're a hard worker, it sounds like. So
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. No, I love it. Yeah, Austin is about an hour away. I go there frequently. Actually, shoot street photography there. It's a pretty vibrant place. But no, I love what you're saying. Thank you for your insights.
anything we can do to help, man. Be a champion.
Yes, thanks.
I guess it might be my turn. Okay, let me go back to where I started to write some things down. My first idea that I wrote down was like doing Saturday morning classes, maybe for kids, maybe for adults, where you're teaching photography and how to take pictures on your device, how to compose a picture, maybe how to take a picture of a flower, nature. You could have different classes each week that could cover different aspects of how to do this on a device. And adults would be a little bit different. Also, one of my big ideas, because I went back to your how do you launch this, is possibly what you could do is a big photo contest and maybe do it quarterly. So even though you'll have your pictures and everything up in your studio, maybe on some of these months, use 3/4 of the studio to feature the pictures that people have sent in the photo contest. And if you did this in the beginning, you could do something about what does community mean to you, or pick out something that would really get people interested and excited, and maybe even do it with the local chamber, which is one of my thoughts. You need to join the local chamber. They can do a ribbon cutting ceremony as you open. I mean, there are a lot of things that you can get for free. Chambers offer a lot of things, including the lists of all their members. So you're going to get the list of all your local community and businesses that are involved in the chamber. And maybe what you can also do with the chamber is set up a headshot day with a special discount for a chamber discount. And you can do it in your shop. They can come to you since it won't be that far away, and they can drink coffee while they wait. It could be a happy hour. It could be a morning thing too, because a lot of chambers will do things from 7:30 or 8 o'clock until 9:30, depending upon their time. And maybe you extend it where you have time that you are actually taking the photos, and then when you're talking about who you are, what you do, and showing them some of your work, or you could keep your work on a drive where it steps and repeats it, but it goes through and shows all of your work so people can look at it while they're walking around the studio and looking at the other pictures of that people have done in the community. I'm looking for anybody else to raise your hand, and I'll call on you and I'll stop, I promise. I do like the idea of headshots, because that's your brand. And the more you can continue to promote your brand, maybe even your food truck. And I love the food truck concept. It's a great way to start. Maybe you have your food truck set up too as a studio, and you take your studio with you, so you can have different things that you can do with your food truck. Thinking out of the box a little bit, but you could do headshots and set up something very easy that you could, or you bring your food truck with you when you go to do the headshots, and you have the coffee time for a specific amount of time, or you find somebody who will serve coffee while you're taking the pictures, because you could have people getting a cup of coffee while they wait to have their headshot. There are lots of other things that I put in there, but I do like doing a lot of things with your chamber. John, you've got another follow-up?
Yeah, I think I saw Norse, Big John Norse waving a hand. Maybe he was just waving at me. I'm not sure. Beautiful. I'm waving back, dude. So I will, you're going to get a recording of this, and you're going to first have to prioritize. So, because you can't do everything at once. And as I've listened, the notion of retail to me is one of the hardest businesses to succeed in. And no business is easy. I'm not familiar with too many businesses that are easy to succeed in, but retail sometimes has some of the worst aspects. And I think as you have described, you're prioritizing the photo, sales revenue in the photo operation precedes sales revenue in the coffee operation. And I think that's a really smart comment that you made early on. And that all these different ideas about whether it's a food truck or a coffee shop become a lot more implementable when the stream of photo revenue is steady. And I hope that you'll take the best X number of ideas, because you can only do so many. And my best recommendation, because there were a lot of great ideas, is get them in a list, figure out which ones you can do, and over time, do as many as possible. But I think you're steps away from the retail operation, and that the best way to blend the whole thing is first build the foundation. And you said that to us early on. So I think my most important recommendation is stick to your current focus.
Thank you, John. I'm going to go on to the last question. And Danelle, I know you're in your car. Can you ask it?
Let's see here. We'll give it a try.
Cool.
So, Chris, first of all, thank you for taking this on at the last minute. I appreciate that. You always come through. But your presentation was great. And I think, this idea it will be great. But I didn't come to ask you that question. I came to ask you, what can our 1 Million Cups community do for you?
That is definitely a good question there.
Melinda, you have something on the screen.
Yeah, I don't know what got on the screen from where. So hold on.
Go ahead, Chris.
To the community, you guys have started it off. Please connect with me on LinkedIn, so I know who you are, and keep that line of communication open. I will be reaching out to you all that have gave me those insights and bounce, and so that's all I ask, is that if I contact you, I won't take up too much of your time. I will come with some courses of actions, and I would just need you to say, hey, don't do that, don't do this. It makes my process, and just have a group of mentors here, and because I'm invested in mentorship, and that's how I've been doing it up to this point, is that I don't overthink it. I got people like Donnell in my life, and some other key mentors that I just go to, because you guys know more than I do, and I'm developing, and you guys are the big brothers and sisters in entrepreneurship here. So I just want you to open up your lines of communication and connect with me.
Great presentation. I'm going to pass the chair back to John Yu.
All right. Thanks, Chris. And thank you, everyone who participated in the conversation and made this this meeting very productive. So if you liked the conversation, you thought it was very beneficial, I'm sure either you or you know someone who can also benefit from having a collective minds come together and solve a business challenge or business problem. So if you know someone, please invite them, or even better, please ask them to see if they would be open to presenting. They'll get a lot of free feedback. Some of us are, a lot of us are experts in certain areas of, either business owners or have done in marketing and a bunch of other areas that we're expertise. So I'm sure that will go a long way. So if you know someone like that, please feel free to have them reach out to us. Next slide. So this is our schedule for next couple of month. As you can see, we have an opening slot next Wednesday. And then we have a company called Simply Enhanced presenting. And then we also have an open for remainder of June and July. While we do have a couple of companies that have submitted for presenting, we need a lot more to fill the spots that we have available. So if you know someone, or if you would like to present, please reach out to us. We'd love to have you and provide our feedback as much as possible. All right, next slide. All right, so did I mention we need more organizers or we need volunteers? So no, so if you're wanting to become a volunteer for this fantastic community, it's a small commitment, but as an organizer, you get a lot of visibility and a great way to serve a business community here. Next slide. All right, so these are some of the upcoming events in the area.
Why don't you have Danelle talk about his events that are coming up? Danelle, can you come back on? They're
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
the list. That would be great.
Absolutely. So, like I told you guys last week, we have 3 events going on within the next 2 weeks. This Saturday, if you're closer to the Maryland area, we have the Fort Meade Veteran Business Expo going on there, where we're showcasing about 17 businesses there. The same day, if you're closer to Woodbridge, we are doing a soft launch of our veteran business pop-up store in Woodbridge, Virginia. If you're familiar with Stonebridge Shopping Center, my organization, Veterans Growing America, has opened up a pop-up store that will be there until October. So the soft launch is June 11th, and then the actual kickoff date will be July 2nd, but June 11th and 12th will be a soft launch. And then the following week, we're going to be at Fort Belvoir, and we're doing a Veteran Business Expo there. If you are close to that area and you have a real ID or a regular ID and a passport, you don't have to be in the military. You can just go to Veterans Fort Belvoir Exchange. That's the shopping center on Fort Belvoir, where we're showcasing about 22 businesses there. And we actually have Leslie as one of our businesses at Fort Belvoir. So we got a lot of stuff going on. Any way that you can support would be great. I also have an opportunity for anyone that has Upwork that wants to be on a NASCAR. There's a sponsorship opportunity to get your logo on a NASCAR if that's something that you're interested in. It's approximately about $50,000. But hit me up. You can email me at info@veteransgrowingamerica.com, and there's an opportunity to get your car on a NASCAR, and then it'll be showcased. It's a NASCAR truck. It'll be showcased on Fox Sports 1. So other than that, That's all I have. Great job again, Chris. You knocked it out the park. And we're looking forward. We have space available next week to be a presenter. So if you have that burning challenge question that you need some support with, we'll support you just like we supported over 300 other entrepreneurs. So thank you.
Thanks,
John, do you have-
Danelle. Real quickly, I just wanted to point out that there's one event that is this week, and it's a business after hours at PJ Skidoo's in Fairfax for those of you that are out in that area. And we'll make sure that we'll put the list of events on the calendar, or rather on the chat, as soon as I get off the meeting. And I'm passing it back to, well, John, you've got something.
Mr. Rutenberg, do you have something you'd like to share with us?
Yes, thank you. Just an event, June 16th at 11 a.m. There are two amazing speakers, Liz Johnson and Rhonda Burns, focusing on marketing and sales. I'm the third speaker, but put me aside. Those two individuals are fabulous and really bright, capable people. You'll get takeaways. You'll hear actionable items that you, in fact, can implement in your businesses from the three of us. But again, Liz and Rhonda are special. I'm just the ugly face joining it.
John, put it in the chat.
It's already in the
Okay.
chat with a link and everything. So thank you.
Back to the other John.
All right. Next slide. Okay, so we're at the end of our meeting, and we want to thank you, everyone, for being here today. Entrepreneurship is a lonely journey, but you don't have to take that journey by yourself. You can take advantage of the great minds that we have at our group. And we want to thank you for thank the Kaufman Foundation for sponsoring us. And we look forward to seeing everybody next week, next Wednesday, same time, same channel. So have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
That was great.
Thanks, everyone.